Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel.
Hello.
And happy Sunday, hope you're all keeping safe and well. We've got a really super quick video, well we think it's going to be super quick.
I was going to say, I think we'll end up just chatting as we normally do. We don't know.
But we wanted to do another Disneyland Paris video that will come in useful when you book your future trips when Disneyland Paris reopens. And it's especially helpful if it's going to be like your first trip or if you haven't used the FASTPASS system before.
Yeah, because the FASTPASS system is different if you've been to Walt Disney World in Orlando. It's a different system in terms of... Well, should we quickly just talk about that?
Yeah.
So the way that you get the FASTPasses in terms of Disneyland Paris is you actually go to a section that's near the ride where they've got these kiosks, and then you put your ticket onto the kiosk, and then it'll print out your FASTPass and you'll have it in a paper form.
But unlike Walt Disney World, where you can book 3 FASTPasses at the same time, you can only have 1 FASTPass at a time.
Yeah.
So the key to getting a good FASTPass at Disneyland Paris is to go there early, preferably as soon as the park opens. Go to your favourite ride, get a FASTPass for it, ride the ride, and then you're open to get another FASTPass after that. If you leave getting a FASTPass till later on in the day, there might not be a FASTPass available because they might have all gone. Or that means that you won't be able to get another FASTPass until you've reached that time to use that one. There's a couple of FASTPasses where you think, oh great, I've got a FASTPass, but it actually doesn't get you that much further in the queue. Buzz Lightyear Laser Blast being one of them. And we found that it doesn't really help us in regards to time.
Not really. So the Buzz Lightyear bit, you've got the queue that's outside and then you go into the building, but the queue in the building is still quite long. So it cuts out a little bit, but I wouldn't say it cuts out the majority of the queue.
Whereas the FASTPasses we're going to list today are the ones which pretty much either take you right up to the ride so you don't queue at all, or they take you a good 3/4 of the way. So this isn't in any order, but we're going to start with Star Tours.
And also, just before you go on to that, I remember that somebody in our latest vlog series told us, I think this is correct, so just put down in the comments if this is incorrect, but somebody said there's a cheat where if you get a FastPass for Star Tours, you can actually get another FastPass for something else.
Really?
Yeah, did you not see that in the comments?
So that it just doesn't work?
Apparently it doesn't, yeah. I don't know if that's true.
Let us know in the comments if that is true.
But I just thought I'd throw that in there for
you. An extra tip. But yeah, our first great FastPass to get is definitely Star Tours. I would say it's kind of normally in the middle of queue times. It's not a really long queue time normally, but it's not a really quick queue time. I'd say it sits in the middle of the queue times.
Yeah, I mean the times that we've been, I mean we've tended to, I can't say what it's like during a busy period, but it's a ride that's been there it's one of the older rides, so I think probably somewhere in the middle. But in terms of like what there is when you're queuing, so there's a room first of all where you walk through, and then you go up a ramp, and then there's like another room, and then you're at the front.
Yeah.
But this FastPass for Star Tours takes you outside, you go up some stairs, you completely bypass the big area where C-3PO and R2-D2 are. You completely bypass the next section where there's all the robots in a line, and you're taken right up to the front of the queue. It's
such a good FastPass in regards to how far you get to the front.
Yeah.
Every time we've done a FastPass, we can't believe how much of the line we miss out.
Yeah, and I think where we do have clips of us using the FastPass routes, I'll try and put it over the top of the clips. I don't think we've got for everyone, but I do think we have footage of us using this Star Tours FastPass route.
Yeah, so we'd highly recommend, if you see a FastPass for Star Tours, definitely grab it.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Yeah. So the next one is a FastPass that we tend to always get, and we always tend to get it in the morning before we do anything else, and that's for Big Thunder Mountain.
Yeah.
Because Big Thunder Mountain is a very, very, very popular ride.
And for good reason, because it is one of our favourites.
We just watched the latest Imagineering episode in the series, and a lot of it was about Disneyland Paris, and there was a whole big section about Thunder Mountain. Just got to point that out.
It's incredible.
It was a great episode.
Especially at Disneyland Paris.
Yeah.
That Big Thunder is the best Big Thunder. Like, definitely better than Walt Disney World.
But yeah, the fast pass, you don't have to go in the actual building and do like all the zigzagging. You go through the fast pass area, which is a bit further down past the main entrance. Go in there, cross over a bridge, go around, and then you join the queue just before you go down the stairs to get on the ride.
Again, it cuts out so much of the queue.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can get a fast pass for Big Thunder Mountain, that is definitely the one to get. Also, we do recommend going and trying to get one really early. As soon as the park opens would be preferable, just because they go so quick. Like, everyone loves Big Thunder Mountain. So yeah, highly recommend that fast pass.
Mm-hmm.
Next is a very popular ride as well. This is Peter Pan's Flight.
It's always busy.
Always busy. And it doesn't seem to get any less busy. No. Like, I don't know, like, it's been around for years. It's like, it's one of the oldest rides, and the line is still huge at both Walt Disney World and Disneyland Paris.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So definitely at Disneyland Paris, it is another one to get in the morning.
Yeah.
If you really want to ride Peter Pan's Flight that day, I would highly recommend getting a fast pass for it in the morning.
We've always done it on a fast pass. Have we ever done it in the normal line? I don't think we have.
But the queue can like come out the door and be like over an hour long easily.
Yeah.
And it doesn't ever seem to get quieter. It just stays at that like the whole day.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, you get a fast pass for it, and I can't remember exactly because we've never actually queued without the fast pass, but I'm pretty sure it takes you pretty much up to the front.
Yeah, because if you're not doing the fast pass, then there is like the zigzagging route outside. Whereas the fast pass, I believe, just takes you like
straight,
round the outside in a line, and then you're at the front.
You're straight on. We've never waited more than, I want to say 5-10 minutes with a fast pass for it.
Yeah.
So that is definitely another really good fast pass. And because they let quite a few fast pass people through, that ride moves really fast. It's on a continuous loop, so there's no stopping really. So yeah, we've always got on the ride really fast if we have a fast pass for it.
We've been able to fly. So we're moving over to the Walt Disney Studios now, so just bear with us.
Oh, we're there. That's literally how long it takes. Hello.
So yeah, we're over at Walt Disney Studios, and at the minute there's not loads of rides over there because they're in the middle of like the expansion.
I'm sure there's going to be a lot of new fast passes to get after that expansion is done.
But a couple of the rides that do have fast passes that are really good. Ratatouille. We actually used the fast pass for this on our latest trip for the first time. We normally do the normal line where we've waited for quite some time to go in. But the fast pass again, you go in the door that's on the far left. And then it just takes you straight to picking up the 3D glasses.
Yeah, you miss the whole line.
Yeah, there is a little section where you can, because a big thing with fast passes is that you miss out on like the stuff while you're waiting. So the bit with Ratatouille, there's the section with Gusto where he talks. But you can actually, if you're going through the fast pass bit, there is a bit where you can peer over a building and you still see it.
You can see
so they've worked that quite well if you want to just stop and look at that. But takes you straight up to the front after the glasses.
We pretty much didn't do any waiting. I remember when we did that fast pass, we literally walked, picked up our glasses and got on.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, that was a good fast pass.
You were also doing some like weird spy movements as well. There was that much room to manoeuvre.
Oh yeah, there's no one there. So next, we've got to go back to Disneyland.
Oh yeah.
All right, we're back. So we're back in Disneyland, and this is our all-time favourite ride ever, and that is Hyperspace Mountain. Again, it's a really, really popular ride. It doesn't cut out the whole queue. No. I would say you maybe cut out, if it's a really long line, I would say you come in about 75%, but that's if it's like a really long line.
Yeah, there's the first bit when you go in, and then it takes you up to a barrier where the cast members will hold you and send some fast pass people through. And that's when the fast pass people come in. Yeah,
so it is still a really good fast pass, especially if the line is like, because it can go outside. It can be a really long line for Hyperspace Mountain. So it's definitely one to consider, especially if you're more of a thrill seeker and you want to do a ride which is, if it's your first time and you want to go on the best roller coaster there, highly recommend Hyperspace Mountain. But if some of your family don't want to go on it, so you want to do it quite quickly, highly recommend getting a fast pass for it.
Yes, I believe the first time that Helena went on, I didn't want to go on it, and you used a fast pass, didn't you? So you were in and out really quickly.
I think it's definitely a good fast pass to use if only you or maybe a couple of your family are doing it and the rest are waiting for you. It's such a fun ride. So good.
I love it. And then the last one, sorry, we're going to go back over to Walt Disney Studios.
We didn't think this through.
Oh, hang on a minute. I am not fast.
I am not fast.
This makes no sense if you haven't watched our Disney quiz. But just to let you know that our Disney quiz, if you want to take part in it, is still up on our channel. And we made it so that even if you didn't take part in the live stream, you could still take part afterwards. So that was actually from one of the rounds. That's one of Helena's Guess the Character impressions, which went down very well.
It did.
So the last one we're going to talk about is Tower of Terror. Sorry. So Tower of Terror, you can get yourself a fast pass. It just bypasses that whole line at the beginning where you're outside zigzagging and then into the hotel. So it takes you basically straight from the outside, maybe queue in a tiny little bit, and then you'll be at the library room doors. And then you'll do that, and then there is a little bit of queuing afterwards. Yeah,
that's the thing about Tower of Terror. Even though the fast pass gets you, you miss the outside line, the ride starts, so like you do all the library bit, and then you queue again before you get into the lift. So it's kind of part of the ride, and I don't think they count it as queue time. So the actual ride of Tower of Terror is quite long because I think it starts from when you go in the library. And then, as I said, after the library, you queue again to get on the lift.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's still a really good fast pass to get, especially if you see the queue outside.
Yeah. And actually it's good for like all seasons, because if it's winter, you don't want to be outside for too long. So you'll bypass the outside section and be inside. And if it's too hot as well outside, you'll bypass that and get to the library doors quicker.
Again, it's a very popular ride. Probably one of the more popular rides in Walt Disney Studios, especially at the moment, because of course Rock and Roller Coaster is down and stuff like that, and you can't get a fast pass for Crush's Coaster. So a lot of people head to Walt Disney Studios to get the Tower of Terror fast pass. So highly recommend trying to get it as early as possible with that one. If you like the sound of any of those rides, then I hope this was helpful, because we'd highly recommend getting fast passes for them. And this is all, what's the date today? So this is all accurate as of the 4th of April 2020. Of course, we've got the expansion of Disneyland Paris and stuff like that. So if you're watching it a few years later, it might have all changed. But for as of now, we think they are the top fast passes to get for your trip.
Yeah, for when it reopens, because that's what we're doing. We're looking forward, looking for that light at the end of the tunnel. When finally we'll be able to get back there. Yeah.
If you have any other suggestions of other Disneyland Paris or Walt Disney World videos that you'd like to see, please pop them in the comments below, because we're looking at filming a few more Disney videos.
Yes, sorry.
But yeah, thanks so much for watching, guys, and we'll see you tomorrow.
We will.
Bye, guys.
Bye.